Hey everyone, Tommy Joe here from Nerd Talking Sports. Before we start tonight's episode, I need to address something here. We recorded this episode on the 20th, and while I was editing the episode today, the 21st, to go out for tomorrow, the 22nd, I came across the news of Kyle Busch and his passing. And I and everyone else here at NTS are extremely saddened to hear the news that Kyle Busch passed. And it's, as the time of this recording happened, maybe 10, 20 minutes ago, and it still hasn't hit. But everyone at NTS wants to send out our condolences to Samantha Busch and their children, the extended Busch family, Kurt Busch, his family over at RCR, and his family at NASCAR, and all the fans that are going to be mourning his death. I still can't believe it happened. But on that note, let's get a little rowdy for Busch tonight.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever the hell you're listening to this. You're listening to Nerds Talking Sports, the Sports Pod with Dad Bod. This is your host, Jack Knight, alongside your other host, Tommy Joe and D. Zach Daniels. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Zach, you wanna update first?
I don't really have anything to update on. Jack, I have a question. Does this sound legit? Does that sound like someone who's about to puke?
No, it sounds like someone trying to fake it.
That's because you know I'm faking.
Zach
No,
had a
well, here's the no. This is how you fake it. You gotta like do some dry heaving. It's like, and then you gotta make the sound more convincing. No.
I feel like that just sounded like a cat. Because they just go. Have you ever had a cat, Jack? Because they just go.
No, but my dog.
And then they find the rug. They could be
Yeah,
a
they
tile or
find the
hardwood,
rug.
and they
That's
find the
autumn.
rug.
That's autumn. Like what? It's like a weekly occurrence. My dog Autumn, who's Belgian Malinois mix, once a week she'll just start pacing around the room. She starts like salivating, and then just suddenly, and and whenever this happens downstairs, she manages to go to the one rug that's in the kitchen.
You have all hardwood floor.
I'm pretty sure we lost all the viewers we had.
Good.
All they
I'm
heard was
fine
just-
with that.
Us trying to throw up.
All right, cut.
Yeah, dude, we freaking got we got potential new listeners, and that's how we start the show, Tom.
Yes.
Close
So this weekend was, as you can see, Dover. Pretty cool hat, by the way. I got Miles on that side, and I like these kind of 950 hats. More of my style. But yeah, Dover was interesting. Hung out with Jill, Alex from Armchairs, and Emily from Track View Racing, who is a friend I met through TikTok and met at Pocono a couple years ago. And she's a fellow content creator, does way more NASCAR stuff than we do. But we kind of help each other out, and we hang out, and it's always a good time. We're always bouncing ideas off each other. But she's a really good friend, and after Dover, she decided to make a post about me, and I felt very touched about that, and I wanted to thank Emily on here for making that video. And if you're here from that video, thank you for following. Please tell your friends about the Nerds Talking Sports podcast. We cover more than just NASCAR here, but
Shit.
what?
I fucked that up then. You guys should have told me that. I didn't
And if you're still
realize that.
listening after what we just went through, thank you. That'll stop.
That doesn't happen often. I just thought I was selling it to my wife, and she was really pissed off at me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, Dover was pretty fun. I will say, I'm not gonna get too deep into it. The fan experience was pretty cool. The fan zone was pretty stacked. Camping at Dover is just typical camping. The racing on Friday, I missed that. The O'Reilly's race, I got it right. The O'Reilly race was pretty good. Justin Allgaier looked like he had it in the bag. He came up front through pit strategy and just there was a late caution. And he just came up to the front. I'm like, oh well, he's gonna run away with this thing. But there was another caution where Corey Day started on the outside and just was booking it. I'm like, Corey Day might have something for Justin. And as the laps start winding down, Corey Day reels in Justin Allgaier and gets his second career victory in the No Apps series and first win at Dover. First time at Dover, first win at Dover. So cool for Corey Day. And the All-Star race, for a race at Dover, it was great. I thought it was one of the better Dover races I've seen, but for an All-Star race, terrible. After the
Really?
second, after the All-Star caution in the third stage, and I saw Denny just take off on the restart, we just left. I was like, this is his race. So we started to pack up and got home a little bit earlier, which was good because I had to go to work Monday. So
He really won. Like you knew it immediately at that point.
you could tell, dude, he was dominant in stage 1. And then for stage 2, well, race 2, they inverted the top 26. So that's what made what made it interesting because all the good cars had to work their way back up. But once he got out front, there was no stopping him.
Right.
And I will say I have the scanners, so I don't listen. We couldn't find the track broadcast. We couldn't get it to pop up on the scanner, but we got the feed that goes to the Fox booth. So you hear what they're being told, and you hear what they say.
Now, is it delayed or what?
No. It's you're scanned into what they're hearing it live. So I hear it before you guys saw it on TV.
Wow.
All right.
Cool.
But you also hear what they say during the commercials.
And that's like when I worked at ESPN. Some broadcasts had access to, like, I got to hear the announcers talk during commercials and stuff.
All of them, Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, and Kevin Harvick were shitting all over the format.
Oh,
all of them were shitting all over the format. Like Mike Joy even called it a dumpster fire.
Oh no!
Ironically enough, that's the second biggest dumpster fire to happen at Dover that weekend.
Oh God,
yeah.
Are we just gonna? Let's just honestly, we should just avoid this because let's be honest, we're done. We're done.
It's not fair. He gets to talk about NASCAR. I don't get to show on David Bednar.
We're done with. Oh, you're talking about David Bednar? I was thinking of Natalie Decker.
We are. I thought you meant. Yeah, I thought you meant let's move on from NASCAR. But yes, I was talking about Natalie Decker and Danica Patrick. I'm sorry.
Natalie Decker makes Danica Patrick look like a god on the track. Like it's not even funny to make fun of Natalie Decker anymore. Like it's sad. Just
not even
get out of the car.
It's not even a woman thing anymore. It's not even a woman thing. It's like,
a her thing.
At this point, you can't even blame sexists. People who actually are sexist at this point, you're like, you give him validity. It's that bad because there's other drivers like Leggy. Is that how you say her name?
Captain
Leg. Okay, sorry. She's gonna try and do a double. Is she gonna win? Probably not. Still fucking cool. Props to her trying. Mm-hmm. But this is ridiculous. We need to stop it. It needs to stop.
She wants to be a hoe on OnlyFans. Just do it.
Just do it.
Oh, jeez. That's how you put. To quote Tina Fey.
I'm not wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
To quote Tina Fey from the movie Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, that sucks. That sucks for women. But yeah, I'm not even gonna. All I'm gonna say regarding Sunday was I wanted to punch a hole through my radio listening to David Bednar blow another save. How the hell are you a closer with a 5 ERA? I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Jalen Brunson, for giving me some type of hope. And freaking, what was that dude's name again? Landry Shamet. Zach, I'm surprised you didn't tear me a new asshole, considering I said while the Knicks were down 22 that they were going to get swept.
Danhausen uncursed the Knicks and cursed The Miz. The Miz is a wrestler. Danhausen's a wrestler. He's a demon. He's very quirky. He curses people. He cursed The Miz. The Miz is a Cleveland sports fan. He's a Cleveland sports fan. You guys are going to sweep the Cavs because The Miz is cursed. And they're going to bring this up next week on Raw. I'm sure of it.
Okay, I'll look forward to that. Yeah, apparently there's a big thing with Cleveland sports in the number 22, but I'll look that up later. Well, listen, we got topics to talk about this episode.
But before we do that, I think we should shift gears and talk about our sponsor.
Sponsors! Yes, that's right. Our sponsor, Recoil Garage. This episode is brought to you by Recoil Garage, your local diesel, fleet, and performance specialist right here in Howell, New Jersey. Recoil Garage handles everything from everyday repairs to high-performance builds. With over 15 years of mechanic experience, we've got the skills to keep you moving. With extensive experience and a background in diesel fleet service, Recoil Garage delivers quality you can trust. With comprehensive vehicle services such as motorcycle and power sports service, automotive repair, performance upgrades and custom builds, diesel diagnostics and repair, marine and boat repair work, and fleet maintenance programs. Whether it's your weekend toy or your daily driver, we treat every vehicle like our own. Recoil Garage has merch available too. T-shirts, hoodies, and sticker packs straight from the online store. Visit recoilgarage.com. That's recoilgarage.com to book your service today. I'd say I'd rate that ad read as ad read.
That was awesome. That was
better than
good.
last week.
That was great.
Yeah, well, speaking of great, get a load of this great punishment. So, where we are in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Montreal Canadiens upset the Sabres. They'll be playing the Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think Carolina's going to win it. Colorado's playing the Vegas Golden Knights. I think Colorado's going to win that. My prediction is still on track. However, the Vegas Golden Knights, after defeating the Anaheim Ducks 5-1 in the series clinching game, most of the team declined to speak to the media. And it was regarded as a flagrant violation by the NHL. So, you think something like that, it's minuscule. It's not like it's cheating or something. You think like it'll like hurt their wallets. Nothing really after that. Wrong. They had to forfeit a second round pick from this year's draft. I remember getting the notification for this. I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? And Coach John Tortorella, who's brought in like tail end of the regular season, was fined $100,000. And honestly, that sounds like something that would happen to John Tortorella. But for this episode, we're going to discuss famous punishments in sports. We each provided an example of one we want to discuss, and we're going to analyze whether we thought the punishment was too harsh, too soft, or justice served. So, I will go first. Tom, you could probably drop a clip of it here. My example is going to be the Adam Graves suspension in the 1992 Stanley Cup playoffs for slashing Mario Lemieux. Some backstory. The Rangers won the President's Trophy this year, their first in franchise history, and this was Mark Messier's first year on the team. They were still in the middle of their Stanley Cup drought. Mark Messier won the Hart Trophy this year. For those of you who don't know, that's MVP, but for NHL hockey. And they were playing the Penguins in the second round of the Patrick Division semifinals, or the second round of the playoffs at the time. And at this time, the Penguins were the defending Stanley Cup champions. Go to game 2 of the 1992 Patrick Division final. Okay, that's what it was. Adam Graves slashes Mario Lemieux's hand and receives a 2-minute penalty. Mario Lemieux is basically a demigod in hockey. If Wayne Gretzky is the best player of all time, many people consider Super Mario would be second. Graves gets a penalty for slashing Lemieux in the hand, but the slash fractured Lemieux's hand and put him out for the remainder of the series. Now, how does the NHL respond? They suspended Graves for 4 games. And at the time, this was one of the longest suspensions in Stanley Cup playoffs history. The NHL vice president at the time, Brian O'Neill, he didn't think Graves was intended to injure Lemieux. Like, it's common to like just whack a guy with your stick, being like, hey, I'm here to pester you. But he's still regarded as, quote, reckless and dangerous, unquote. The Penguins fell behind 2-1 in the series before rallying to beat the Rangers. Lemieux retired in the next round, and they would go on to win their second straight Stanley Cup, and the Rangers would have to wait another 2 seasons before ending their cup drought in 1994. Now, before we get to a verdict, I'm going to give my take on it. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm a Ranger fan, and looking at it from a hockey standpoint, yeah, this was the correct call. It was a slash on the hand. But 4 games? I'd say you have a good case for at least 1, maybe 2. But 4 is ridiculous, especially when you consider Graves' history. So, Graves was a hard-nosed, physical player who played with an edge. He was one of those guys who did all the little things it took to win, but he put up a lot of points. He's a 2-time Cup champion. He He won with the Oilers. He won with the Rangers. And to further emphasize why I think this was too much of a punishment, this was literally the only disciplinary action of his career. And this is one of many instances you can think of the NHL giving favoritism to the Penguins. So obviously, take my bias into consideration. I think this was too harsh.
Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I think 4 games is a little harsh.
For a playoff series.
I mean, I would say just take him out of the game and call it that.
Yeah.
Like, I think like
how often
a 2-minute penalty is not enough, obviously. I mean, that's a little extreme.
Yeah, hence why I said like a game or two. Like, you have a case there.
Like, I would say definitely take him out of the game, eject him from the game, maybe the next game.
Yeah, especially you got to consider he's a first-time offender.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, is slashing common? I feel like it's common.
It is. It's especially now these days because now all that warrants a slash is basically the blade of your stick touching your opponent's glove.
Oh, like when Crosby basically died when a Flyers player accidentally grazed his like air.
Like, pretty much, yeah. That like
okay.
Well, but obviously this is NHL was much more Wild West, like the 90s and any time prior to that. So
I mean, that was
was
like
but
when
like
the NHL was just wrestling on ice.
Right, there was much more fighting back then.
It's funny because when I watched the clip, the reason I reacted the way I did before when I was watching it was I thought he hit him in the face, and then you said the hand, and I looked, I'm like, oh yeah, he only hit him in the hand. So I do think I actually do think it's harsh because if it was on purpose, I think a game.
Yeah, there's no denying that.
Yeah, he definitely did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
was so blatant. It was the fact that it was so blatant. I feel like he was looking up and went bap right on the hand. And I don't know. I mean, did Lemieux break his hand off that? Or
I said he fractured his hand, but he returned. He missed the remainder of the series, but he returned to the next series.
Right. Okay. Wow. Oh, okay. That does add a layer onto it.
Still think.
It's definitely too much, but it definitely deserved a game.
At least a game, no more than 2, in my opinion.
And of course, the Pens won this series, I'm sure.
And they repeated Stanley Cup playoffs or Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah,
but as a Ranger fan, I mean, obviously I wasn't alive for 1992, but it kind of reminds me of an instance in 2012, Game 2 of the first round. The Rangers were playing the Senators. It was a very chippy series, but I'm not going to go into all those details. But I remember Carl Hagelin elbowed Senators captain Daniel Alfredsson. And listen, I know the game. I looked at the elbow. I'm like, yeah, he's definitely getting a suspension. And then, especially because Alfredsson did leave the game. He had a concussion. And then the next day we get the verdict of the suspension. And he got 3 games. Like, 3 games? He never did anything prior to that.
Right.
Like you said, a suspension was fine, but 3 games? He's a first-time offender. And Chris Neal was basically being an asshole, which is the type of, in fairness to him, that's the type of player he is. He knocked the Rangers player concussion, which I'll be honest was a clean hit. But, and it's especially ridiculous when I just remembered, thinking back to that incident. That same playoff year, I think, Shea Weber took the head of Henrik Zetterberg, like grabbed it with his hand and slammed it into the glass against Nashville Predators, Detroit Red Wings. I don't know if Weber even got a fine, let alone a suspension. So when Hagelin did get suspended there, the Rangers put out a statement. It's like, yeah, we agree with the suspension, but really, you're not going to let this go, but you let this go? But yeah, I definitely think, like that incident, Graves should probably deserve the suspension there. I wouldn't have really argued against a game or 2, but 4 was excessive.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, Tom, do you have a weird punishment? I'm sure NASCAR is like, a beacon of a brilliant officiating.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to have some incidents, I'm sure, on record.
I'll say not maybe necessarily this year, but in the past, NASCAR has been probably the only sport to make Angel Hernandez look competent.
Did you say Angelo Hernandez?
No, I said Angel.
Okay.
So am I gonna go with my too harsh?
I mean,
Go too harsh.
Oh, you brought
give me the one.
you brought two examples?
Yeah, give me the
All right,
one
let's
that's
hear
too
it.
harsh.
Okay. So for my one that's too harsh is gonna have to go back 2 years. Go back to 2 years to Richmond of 2024. It is, I believe it was the last race before the playoffs, or a race or two before the playoffs.
Oh my
And,
God.
and Austin Dillon had a really good car all day. Austin Dillon, you know, you probably heard of him last week talking about nepo babies. How he's not he's not the worst case example of a nepo baby. But he trying to remember it exactly. So it came down to a late race restart. I believe it was a green white checkered, and Joey Logano got ahead of him, and he was behind Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin. And going into three, he overdrives the shit out of it and runs right into the back of Joey Logano, and ends up spinning out Joey Logano in a very aggressive bump and run.
Yes.
Also, doing that, it slowed him down, which allowed, because he got past Denny. He was able to get past Denny, but Denny was able to get back by him. And he now, in my personal opinion, I believe Denny went up and Austin went down and they made contact. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. And it ended up taking out Denny Hamlin, and Austin Dillon got the win. Austin Dillon was able to celebrate, and he was locked into the playoffs. He got his first win. Is that back when you had win and you're in, and he was locked into the playoffs, only for him to still have the win, but he got docked. I think it was 25 points or 50 points. I have it up here. He was docked. Where was it?
Yeah.
He was docked 25 points, driver and owner points. Now, the thing that really happened here is that I feel like if either one of those instances happened separately, there would have been no incident. Like, it would have just been hard racing for the win. You know,
Right.
if he just bumped Joey Logano and was able to maintain speed and keep it away from Denny Hamlin, he would have had the win. If he did the same thing, Denny Hamlin and him are coming to the line and they make contact and Denny spins out and he wins, I think Dillon keeps it. The damning evidence here is his spotter, Austin Dillon's spotter, saying, wreck him, wreck him, wreck him, which ended up getting him suspended for a couple of races. So the spotter got suspended for, I think it was 3 races. Austin Dillon got docked 25 owner points and 25 driver points. And he got essentially the win taken away in regards to the playoffs.
Welcome to NASCAR, where everything's made up and the points don't matter.
I don't like Austin Dillon. I'm not an Austin Dillon fan. And at that time, there's probably no two drivers I could hate more than Joey Logano or Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, you wanted Austin Dillon in that moment. You wanted him to be like that meme of Michelangelo from Ninja Turtles, where he's like, "Cowabunga, it is."
Yes. I think it was cool. I think it was cool. I think it was maybe a little, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, as like a fan, it's cool, but like as like a sport, like you don't want
as a fan, it was awesome.
You don't want to win that way. You know what I mean?
No.
Well, you're in victory lane. You're like the meme of Top Gear. Oh no.
Anyways, like in baseball, like you wouldn't want your pitcher to take out the best player on the other team. They get hit by a pitch in the World Series. Like let's say you're in the World Series and your pitcher takes out the best hitter on the other team and he's out for the series, and you win because they like. Do you really want to win that way?
It's cheap. Yes,
it's cheap. You know what I mean? Like it is cheap, but it is cool. It's like, oh wow, but like
a win's a win, but it's cheap. But the thing is, I agree with you. Actually, the bump and run actually was not egregious at all, in my opinion. I mean,
if Joey wasn't there, he wasn't making that corner.
No, he wasn't. But I don't know. I mean, I grew up on the Dale Earnhardt years, and I've seen a lot worse. So, I mean, in my opinion, I'm with you. If it was one of those instances, then it's not nearly as bad as it looked. but as a fan, that was the coolest fucking shit I'd ever seen because I was like, this is a good race, and it's coming down to the end. It was like a green. I think Dylan was leading. Was he not?
He was like up front most of the race, I believe.
Most of the race. Yeah, no, and then
like the green white checkered fucked him on position for the restart.
Well, yeah, because I think Denny and Logano overtook him. Logano took it, and then they went into the white flag, and
he was able to get past Logano. He was able to get past Hamlin. He couldn't pass Logano.
And so he took Logano out of the picture. And then as he did that, like you said, I saw Denny coming. I'm like, oh, I remembered everything happening in a split second. And my brain went, oh my God, he took out Logano. Oh shit, Denny's going to win. And then I just went, yeah! Like, and Denny just zooms out of the picture and Austin Dillon crosses the line. And I was like, that was the wildest shit I've ever seen. It turned into a demolition derby. He just started.
It did.
He just started taking everyone out.
He did. Austin Dillon. That's what it looked like. It looked like he was just trying to wreck everyone in his way. I don't really think that's what it was, and that's why I think personally, I think the penalty was too harsh.
Yeah, Austin Dillon, NASCAR's most chaotic driver. I sent it to the group chat. I don't know if you guys watch it, and I kind of don't blame you. Emp Lemon made a video about Austin Dillon that was an hour 30 minutes, and needless to say, he talked about this incident with Austin Dillon, Logano, and Hamlin.
I mean, and like a quick blurb.
He talked about how ridiculous the rule changes were for NASCAR at the time. Like he was not only shitting on the win in your in system at the time, but also the green white checkered because he was saying Austin Dillon legitimately ran a great race at the time. He was up front most of the time. I don't know if he led the most laps, but if not for the green white checkered, he would have won cleanly, like the old way. The way Dale Earnhardt won the 1998, was it 98 Daytona 500?
Yes.
Yeah, the way Dale Earnhardt Sr. came to the finish line at the Daytona 500. And Ed Blumman used that as an example. You think NASCAR fans were upset that Dale didn't win under green? No, they were probably thinking, yes, Dale, you finally did it. You finally got your final Infinity Stone.
Yeah, right. No, it was just insanity. But the fact that they took it away, it's like, well, then what's the fucking point of doing this? That's
what
the
NASCAR wanted, but they didn't want it.
That's the thing about the win in your in system. When you told me about that years ago, and I was trying to get back into NASCAR, I was sitting here like, the points don't matter. So if you win, like the points matter, but only if you had less than 16 drivers win in a season.
Yeah, which is fair. Which is like usually you get like 12 or 14.
Right. Exactly. So it's like,
you'd have
but
a couple
the point
positions open.
But that means, but also if you're going to have the win in your in system, then you're going to have guys like Austin Dillon, who I think the reason also it was extra funny is in a personal note. I think I was talking to you and other people in our group chat and anyone else about NASCAR, just picking on Austin Dillon and how there's guys there's just guys that could win and they're in, and it makes zero sense that they have a chance at the championship, while other guys maybe just didn't win and were thought. Yeah, it's like that was the number one example. And then so seeing Austin Dillon, oh shit, okay, he ran a really good race. Do I think he's going to win the championship if he wins this race and gets into the playoffs? No, but you know what? He ran he won the race. Harrison Burton, I think he came out in the last couple laps, right? He did, 100% lucked in. He ran a good race, and then there was, of course, because it's NASCAR, there's a caution in the last 10 laps. They have to clean it up, and then they waste most of the laps, and then you get down to the green-white checker, and he lost his spot. So fuck it. If I was a driver, I would have been pissed. I would have been get the fuck out of my way. And I don't know, Darlington is the perfect track to do that because there is no way you're hitting those Richmond. I'm sorry. There is no way you're hitting those corners that fast. So you kind of have to hit it slow. So he just decided to go right into Logano's back. So, I don't know, but as a fan, yeah, of course it's too harsh because that was fucking awesome. Why'd you take that away from me?
Exactly. So it's too harsh. Too harsh.
Yeah, too harsh. And side note, going back to the Emp Lemon video, I mean, Dylan's in the twilight of his, or entering the twilight of his career. I had no idea that he was also had his own reality TV show.
Yeah.
It's not good from what I hear.
It was on USA. It was really bad.
Okay. Anyway, you got 2 examples, Tom.
Yeah, but you gave one. I thought we're gonna go one for one or 2 for 2.
I mean, we got time. What do you think?
Okay, so this isn't exactly a clear-cut punishment, but this is an example of NASCAR using Brian France using his power over someone he doesn't like. Do you guys know a name of Jeremy Mayfield?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jeremy Mayfield was a young and upcoming star in NASCAR. And this was back at the time when PEDs were everywhere in sports, and all sports were trying to ban them.
You take steroids for... I never heard of anyone taking steroids for NASCAR.
Well, they were doing PED testing, but they weren't just checking for PEDs.
Oh, I see.
What did he get snagged for?
Methamphetamines.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
no.
what I wanted to hear. It was that or Coke.
What's very similar to methamphetamines?
Adderall.
What?
Adderall.
Oh, so he was taking Adderall.
Prescribed Adderall.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
He was taking prescribed Adderall, and he had a falling out with Brian France.
Mm.
And I don't even know, because he came clean that he was taking Adderall when he did the drug test, but it was like the random drug test was very unrandom.
Right. They do that
Like
all the
he
time.
had like a falling out with Brian France, and then this random drug test happened. And I think he even had a falling out with Ray Evernham too, who he was racing for at the time. But it essentially ruined his racing career.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, that absolutely will, because so one, that is way too harsh. I'll add to your story. A very similar story before I tell you my kind of punishment. We'll get to that. Chris Davis, you remember him, Jack, for the Baltimore Orioles?
Yeah, he freaking... he was doing great, and then his career tanked real freaking hard.
Same exact reason. Apparently, he had prescribed Adderall. And the moment I guess the MLB updated their drug policies and they removed Adderall. For some reason, they actually took away his like ADHD meds or whatever the reason was for it. I think that's like the primary.
I was gonna say, did they regard it as performance enhancing, or
I guess so. They regarded it as an amphetamine or a drug that is illegal to use for
clearly did.
Well, to be fair, Adderall helps with concentration. If you ever knew that, I took it once in college.
I was prescribed
Yeah.
Adderall.
You were? I
Yeah.
wasn't prescribed this shit. Someone just gave it to me, and I just listened to speed metal all day while writing like a 13-page report.
I had Adderall XR, extended release.
I think I
It came in a capsule.
I think I was prescribed Adderall at one point. I some type of drug to make me pay attention. It was probably Adderall,
And it made you super thin.
Guys, I'm going to be
remember
completely honest with you. I'm going to be
this
completely
was like
honest with
elementary,
you.
middle school. I don't think I took it in high school.
Guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know what I took. I took what some guy gave me and said it would help you with your fucking final. And it helped me with my final. I got a 94.
Wow.
So, meth or Adderall, it helped me, and it certainly helped Chris Davis. And then the moment, but that's the thing, the moment they took that away from him, it fucked with him. It fucked with him because it's a mental thing. It clearly messed with the brain chemistry and his focus and his coordination and everything. So that absolutely makes sense with Mayfield, and that's fucking bullshit, honestly.
Because
Because
I remember 20 games into the season, freaking it took for Davis to get a hit.
yeah, that was the beginning of it.
Focus
It
on the
started
ball.
with that.
Yeah.
And he tried, but apparently that was one of the reasons that kind of tanked his career. So,
But yeah, I agree. Too harsh on Mayfield.
that's bullshit, honestly. All right, so
and to end that, only for Brian France to be arrested for a DUI.
right, his own drugs.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, I have an interesting take for you guys. All right, I'm going off script a little bit. Sorry, Jack, but I thought this would be fun. Question: do you think it is harsh to be fired for smiling at your boss?
Yes, I know what you're about to bring up. I don't remember which wrestler it was, but I do remember this.
What do you think, Tom?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to explain this story, Jack. Let me go because you're going to have your mind blown because you may have heard this story, but you have not heard it correctly. So his name was Paul London.
It was Paul London.
He was a wrestler in the early to mid 2000s for WWE, and I think he was in ROH, which is like, call that like AA, and TNA, which is like AAA, like for baseball references, everybody. So anyway, Paul London was a very fun wrestler. He wasn't a household name, but to wrestling fans who watched frequently and saw a lot of his matches, I think all of us agree he was hella fun to watch in the ring. He was doing a lot of flippy dippy doodah stuff. You know, he was just jumping all over the ring. His finisher was a 450 splash, which Tom is he jumps and does a front flip and lands on his stomach on the wrestler. It's fucking cool. He also could do a shooting star press, which is where you jump and do a backflip while moving forward and landing on your wrestler, on the opponent. So he was a lot of fun to watch. He also had one of the greatest eliminations in the Royal Rumble, where Gene Snitsky, another guy only wrestling fans would really remember.
It wasn't my fault.
Yes, that guy. He clotheslined. You have both feet have to touch the floor. Over the rope, over the top rope, both feet have to touch the floor. He was clotheslined on the apron of the ring, and he did a backflip off and hit the ground. It looked so gnarly, and of course he was okay. Everything was okay, but it was so gnarly, and he also got chastised for that too, apparently. But I'll explain a little bit why. WWE does a lot of things by the book. They want things done their way. All right. There was a segment in June 2007 where all these wrestlers were lined up in the back because Mr. McMahon was feeling a little funny that day, like something was wrong. Mr. McMahon, not Vince McMahon. This is the character Mr. McMahon. And as he's walking to his limo, he's walking past every wrestler through the back. And this is all recorded, and they apparently did like 8 or 9 takes of this. And Paul London was just smiling really creepily at him. Everyone looked very downtrodden, just not in a good, like sad, a little scared, Mr. McMahon. Oh, and Paul London standing there like this.
This week's episode, no context.
So Mr. McMahon gets in his limo, and it fucking explodes. It just explodes.
Oh, it was that episode?
Yes. So in kayfabe, in the storyline,
yeah,
Mr. McMahon
Tom doesn't know what
dead.
kayfabe means.
Yeah, in the storyline, Mr. McMahon was dead. He was going to be dead. He wasn't dead, but he was going to be dead. And this is why Mr. McMahon was crazy. I don't know how the hell that would have moved forward because we never saw the conclusion to that angle.
I know where this is going.
Because 2 weeks later, Chris Benoit was found in his house along with his wife and child in an apparent murder-suicide. They instantly nixed this story, and Mr. McMahon, unfortunately, went to... He came out. Like, it was after 2 weeks. He apparently canceled the show because this was found out on a Monday morning. So they canceled the show. No one went to the arena, but they still recorded him in the ring doing a tribute to Chris Benoit. They were going to do a tribute to Chris Benoit because they did not know what had happened. Jack, go on.
That's what I was going to ask. Did they know what happened at that point?
So the information to his death was not revealed just yet.
To the public.
They were learning it basically live on air. And they had all these recorded video packages of people saying really nice things about Chris Benoit for 2 hours. It was
that's just horrible.
a disaster. I actually found the full episode in 2 parts on Vimeo. It is in our doc if you ever want to look at it. It is awkward, to say the least. It is extremely dark and awkward and weird because they literally found out sometime middle of the show. Now, why am I doing this spiel on the Chris Benoit situation? Oh, and by the way, the next couple days later on SmackDown, because SmackDown was on Thursday or Friday compared to Raw on Monday, they would switch between Thursday and Friday. Anyway, they went on SmackDown and basically Mr. McMahon was like, oopsie, I fucked up. We'll never mention him ever again. And that was the end of that. Now, why am I bringing this up in a punishments episode? Because for the longest time, the story was Paul London, who, again, not a household name, not a big guy at all, actually. He was a small dude. The story was he was released from his contract because he smiled at Mr. McMahon on this random taping of him walking. And it ends up being one of the most infamous, ridiculous story twists ever. That was not true, Jack. You've heard that story?
Yes, I have. And only slight correction. It was on ECW when Vince issued the statement correcting.
Was it though? So it was the next night because that was on Tuesdays.
Yes, and I gotta say, obviously they should have waited, but the way the statement Vince put out the next night was pretty damn good. And I was like, okay, if you're gonna screw up like that, that is the statement you put out after. But okay, what am I not aware of, Zach?
So what I've found out listening to several interviews with Paul London, Chris Van Vliet, one of the best podcasters out there for wrestling. He does awesome interviews, just gets these wrestlers, past and present, to just let their guard down and kind of let us in the behind the scenes a little bit, whether they're in character or not. MJF, one of those guys, just amazing interview with Chris Van Vliet. I listened to Paul London talk to him, and he was like, yeah, everyone thought I was released from that. That's not true. I worked there for like another year or two after.
Yes, I saw him wrestle
championships.
Yeah, I saw him wrestle in DC in 2008 before he got released.
Right. So that's why that story is just a bunch of bullshit. Now, what we can say is it may have led to the release because in wrestling, you are the product. You are the brand. You cultivate your own following, whether as an individual, a team, or like in a big stable of people. But no matter what, your character or gimmick or look, in a lot of cases, the promotions you work for or maybe you're contracted to, they have a final say in what you do. Now, if you're an independent guy and you can go wherever you want, you take your character with you. But if you are contracted to a company for a while, they may mess with your look and your character and your gimmick and whatnot. And WWE is the ultimate machine. It is the corporate wrestling, and understandably so. It is the biggest thing on planet Earth. So, as far as I'm aware, he was never fined or even punished. The story was, after they did this taping of Vince walking down the hall, they gave every wrestler that was in this scene, they said that, so here's how this scene's gonna go. All right, so Mr. McMahon's feeling queer all day. He's very queer. There's a queer feeling in the air, and they kept telling Paul London that he's queer, and he's like, what does that mean? I think they mean odd because they don't mean the other way that they would say this. So I guess they mean odd. And he didn't know what to do, so he just ended up doing this smile for all 8 or 9 takes. And he says Mr. McMahon was so locked in, he looked at him almost every take. But after they did the takes, no one said a word until someone pointed out, they're like, Paul, why are you smiling at him? And Vince McMahon, he said, like the binoculars on a submarine, they like popped out of the water, just turned, power walked over to the screen that they were looking at, and they pointed at Paul London, and Vince goes, why were you smiling? And Paul's like, I don't know, it's they said you were queer all day, I don't know, and that's just I don't know. That's what they told me. What am I supposed to do? That's what I did. And he and Vince apparently reportedly goes, I don't like it, and walked away. That was it. That was all it was. But Paul London, as I said, your brand, your product, WWE controls it. This kind of stuff, wrestling is it seems like there's a lot of politicking going on backstage. So it must have meant, and I think Paul London said in the interview, he's like, well, I'm fucked. So it leads to you going down the line of like losing more matches, getting buried, as they call it, looking like a fool in certain ways. That's how they script these. They choreograph these matches. They plan everything out. They call it in the ring as well, trying to make everything smooth. But that's kind of where his head was at. And that's why a lot of people thought later that year, because that happened in June 2007, less than a year later, I think, they broke up, him and his tag team partner, Brian Kendrick, who were champions at one point, or maybe a couple times.
Yeah, Kendrick turned heel.
Yeah, so they broke them up, and Paul London basically went and did his own thing. They did a draft. They call it the draft, where they just kind of shuffle up the rosters for both the TV shows. And Paul London just lost some matches and then was just sitting on the shelf for about 3 months or so before he was released in November 2008. But I actually thought that was the reason he got released. I forgot the timeline of him wrestling, so the brain was just like, oh, he got released after the Vince McMahon blowing up in his car thing. But no, he was never punished, actually. There was no punishment for it besides Vince McMahon telling him he didn't like what he was doing, which Vince McMahon doesn't like a lot of things that people do.
Yeah, he definitely was buried because I said before, I saw him wrestle in Washington, D.C. at Capital One Arena in 2008. He wrestled in a matchup that wasn't even aired. And it wasn't just Raw I went to. It was they also filmed Saturday Night's Main Event that night. So he wrestled in a match that wasn't even taped. I don't even remember who the wrestler who he defeated.
Yeah, no, it's, that's going to a show like that, going to those TV shows is very interesting for sure. But I do love going to independent shows. We should definitely check out Adam Kirkland sometime.
We do.
Yes, we should.
Hopefully, we got to find out when he's working. So
yeah, shout out to him. I don't think we ever talked about it. He was in an He wasn't the wrestler they were promoting, but he was in an AEW promo.
He was in numerous. He was in multiple, and he had a speaking role, a major speaking role.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about, where it was like the Wild West type one.
Yeah, no. So, he's doing good. But I just thought when you brought up punishments, I was like, let me revisit this story. And I actually did think he was released. I got Mandela effect on this one. I got psyoped.
Listen, I got psyoped too. So,
that's all I got though. Yeah, but if you were released for smiling at your boss, that'd be a bit too harsh.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, all right. I don't think, is there anything else we have? Do we have questions, Tom? No questions. Oh my gosh.
Questions.
Oh,
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about us. Nobody cares.
I have a
Nobody
question.
cares.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it. For those of you listening to the audio podcast, Zach just knocked down his green screen, and now you just see the basement behind him, where he's been working this entire time.
I'm in a dungeon.
I forgot my question now. Anyway, so if you like your question answered on the podcast, make sure to be on the lookout for our stories on our Instagram and Facebook every week on the day that we record. Also, on that same story will be a link to our website, nts-podcast.com, where you can click on it and it'll take you to our website. Bottom right corner of the website, you will find a microphone icon. Click on the icon and you can leave us a voicemail to have your voice heard on the podcast. All right, Jack, wrap the show up for us.
I will do. And to any new listeners who might be listening to this, definitely do that. We love having our fans participate in our show. Thank you again to Recall Grosh for sponsoring this episode. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at Nerds Talking Sports and on Twitter and Instagram at N_T_SPORTS. Jack_S_podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and wherever you get the podcast. This is Jack Knife, along with the Zach Daniels and Tommy Joe. Have a wonderful night, everyone.